snap.
Mic check, mic check.
We came back.
Mic check, mic check.
Say it with me.
Mic check, mic check.
Now set it free.
All right, here we go. So we're just going to try to keep it moving. So this is season 3, episode 2. Girl, I was about to say, girl, you know what? Lord have mercy. I'm so used to saying that. Season 3, episode 2, Danny B Speaks, the podcast. And, we're going to talk about some fun things. Sorry. We're going to talk about some fun things and, you know, more. I mean, there's going to be some serious topics here. This is going to be kind of in the middle. But I want to talk about how, what a lot of people have been asking me about. And I'm going to have more episodes talking about different things about my weight loss, because I have lost well over 200 pounds. And within the past 10 years, you might as well say. Now, I have never revealed my highest weight. Now, I've talked about how I got to that weight you can get the backstory and all of that fun stuff on past episodes of Danny B Speaks, the podcast, season 1, and there may be some in season 2 as well. And you can find those on my YouTube page under the playlist for those respective podcasts. But so I never talked about my highest weight. I will reveal that today. I also will discuss how I'm treated now, how I treat myself, how I'm treated by others. I'll discuss that. And that's really about it. I don't want to, be on here too long. But this first episode discussing the weight and everything like that, this is going to be more of a personal thing. I am going to give away tips and hints and stuff like that eventually of what I've done. This isn't about that today. So let's just go ahead and get started in this episode of Danny B Speaks, the podcast. Don't know what I'm going to name it yet, but it'll have a name, of course, when you see this. So I'll get to how I lost in a second, but my highest weight that I'm aware of, and I say that, or I should say highest known weight in the words of Amberlyn Reed. If you know, you know. But my highest known weight was 387. 387 pounds. That is the highest known weight. And I say that because when I finally went to a doctor, when I was ready to take my weight loss seriously, when I knew that it was way out of control, way beyond anything that I could ever do on my own, that's what the weight was. And that was 10 years exactly. You might as well say it was I first went to this doctor in June of 2016. It's now July of 2026. So 10 years ago, that is what my weight was. Today, or I should say as of yesterday, when I weighed myself, I try to weigh myself every 2 weeks. And it's mainly because I'm in a program that, was keeping me honest. And it's helped a lot with my weight loss. But so my current weight as of yesterday, when I weighed myself, was 161. My overall goal that I recorded on Father's Day, when I weighed myself on Father's Day, so what was that, a couple weeks ago? When I weighed myself on Father's Day 2 weeks ago, I was 165. That was when I hit my overall goal. And when I saw that, I just was blown away. It was just like it was a shock because I knew I had been working hard. I knew I was close to it, but when I actually saw it, I mean, I felt so accomplished. I felt just mentally amazing. I felt like, no pun intended, but there was a huge weight lifted off of me because I had hit that goal. Why was 165 my overall goal? Because I set different goals for myself when I first started my weight loss journey. But the overall goal of 165 was because when I first started gaining weight in my like late 20s, early 30s, I think it was like mainly early 30s, the last weight that I remember seeing on the scale was about 165, 166. It was around that. So I said, when I lose the weight, now there were times I didn't think I was ever going to lose the weight, but when I said, if I get on this journey and I feel like I can do this and I'm going to set this overall goal for myself. This is the overall goal. This wasn't like I'm going to hit it, and then I'm going to be. No, I wanted to go in steps. And if I didn't make it to this overall goal, as long as I would have got to one of, well, I shouldn't say one of the goals, but if I would have got close to it, I would have been cool. But I hit it, and then now I hit then some. But that was why I wanted to hit that goal, is because that's what I remember when I first, that number was significant because that was what I remembered my weight being when I first started gaining weight. Notice the weight coming on, I should say. So that's why that weight was very important to me, and that's why that was my goal. Um, I will say that there is a such thing as, I don't know what you call it. I don't know if it's misplaced addictions or whatever, because I can't really say that I'm replacing a food addiction because I didn't have a food addiction. I didn't have an eating problem. You may have looked at me and just heard my highest weight and begged to differ, but I had a stomach condition that caused me to gain a lot of weight and why I couldn't digest and all this stuff. So I didn't know how to lose weight. I didn't. I didn't know what to do when I would do what I thought I needed to do. And when I was successful at it, I wasn't losing weight. That's when I knew that there was a huge problem. But I will say that it is true when you are at a point where, and now that I think about, now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe it's not really uh, misplaced or transfer. That's what I'm talking about, transfer addictions. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just because I'm just naturally a clothes and a shoe whore. But I will say that is my biggest problem now. Because when you're at close to 300 pounds, and especially not only being 300 pounds, I mean, close to 400 pounds, I'm sorry, even 300 pounds. So even when I lost my first 100, I still wasn't able to shop the way I wanted to. I wasn't able to, just go and have options and just buy straight off the rack. Um, when I get a lot of my clothes and stuff on clearance, because when I would go to the clearance section before, there wasn't anything in my size. If there was, they were snatched up. But now there's like tons left of what I want, what I'm interested in. So that hasn't helped my pockets, but it's all good because I do get some of it back. There are even clothes that I bought last summer that are too big now. Um, and that's a great feeling. Even though it's money wasted, still, I do get a little something back because I go sell them to like Uptown Cheapskate or Plato's Closet. I don't really like dealing with the online stuff because it's so time consuming when I could just take it someplace, even though I can get more money doing it that way. It's time consuming and it's annoying, and then you got to deal with people, and I don't know. I don't know. But there probably are going to be have to be some things that I am going to start listing online, like on eBay and Macari and Poshmark, because it's a lot of shit. And I want to start getting rid of it because my upstairs is a hot ass mess. Not only from shoes. Now, I've always been a shoe whore. Now, shoes didn't matter because, I mean, that didn't matter. I had a lot of shoes when I was 300 pounds, almost 400, whatever. I've always been a shoe whore since I was young. So that's no issue with me. That was no issue, I should say. It's an issue, but it wasn't, like, but when it comes to the clothes, I have clothes upstairs that are like probably from 4 or 5 different sizes. That's a lot. And so it was like every year almost, or every, well, at least the last 2 year, 2 going on 3 years, I've had to buy like a new wardrobe every season. Um, and that's, and not only am I buying clothes, just, normal clothes, whatever that I would wear just casually, but buying clothes for work too. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on up there, and that's why I spend so much time in my office because it's a lot going on up there. It's overwhelming. I've been trying to slowly get it together, get things out of there, but that even is time consuming. So, but that is something that really needs to be worked on. So anyway, so next I do want to talk about, am I treated differently after losing weight? And the answer is yes. I hate to say it, but I do get I'm treated differently. Let me just say that. Um, you could read in between the lines, but I do get a lot more attention. And there are some people who didn't even want to give me the time of day when I was overweight. I understand, because it's not something that I be attracted to. I'm not even going to front. Um, but it I do. Um, and I'm not talking about people who, compliment you, say, call me, skinny mini or whatever, or, I mean, things like that. That doesn't bother me because I worked very hard to get to where I'm at now. So that doesn't bother me. Um, what bothers me is people who didn't pay you attention before, and then now, you're all buddy buddy and, wanting to talk and all. No, I can't get with that. So, but that's a whole different subject for a whole nother day. But yes, I am treated differently. I'm even treated differently by family. I've noticed that, and it's kind of weird, but it's not because they were used to seeing me a certain way for so long, and so now that they see me like this, they're just like, wow. Now I will say the petty side of me, when I post pictures, I hope people that used to talk about me when I was bigger, I hope they see it. I do. I hope they see it and I hope they're looking like, damn, okay, all right. I mean, is what it is. I'm just saying. But you are treated differently. Even in public, I'm treated differently. Um, people look at you, like you don't get other looks. People may think my appearance and everything because the way I carry myself, the way that my hair is short, the way I dress, whatever. I'm sure people do look. I'm not naive to that, but it's not. It's a different type. It's just like people just walk right by you, whatever. You may not get those looks, so it's a lot different. It's definitely a lot different and it's noticeable. I mean, there are people I haven't seen in years. So, you know, curious as to what they'll say, when and if they see me in person. Um, and it's not like I'm trying to, test people or whatever, but there are people who've made comments in the past. There are people who, I don't forget. I don't forget. So I'm just going to put it at that. But yes, I am treated differently. And maybe I'll get more into that later on, or another time. But I do want to talk about how I did lose over 200 pounds and how I do want to maintain, how I plan on maintaining it, I should say, at least. I don't really need to lose any more weight, but I do want to at least maintain it. Um, and if I lose, I lose. I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. That's the thing. So, but I talked about earlier my weight loss journey is in previous podcasts, previous seasons of Danny B Speaks the podcast. Even talked about a little bit on Girl You Know What. I mentioned that. But besides the weight loss, I'm sorry, besides the weight loss surgery, I should say, the bariatric surgery, um, which a lot of people will always, even people who are not too familiar with it or may even be familiar with it, but they still look at it as you're cheating. So what? I mean, you can look at it that way. It's not really cheating, it's a jump start because what a lot of people don't realize is that the surgery is a final effort. It's like the last thing. It's like the last ditch effort to get there. Most people who have surgery have tried everything. They've tried every diet, they've exercised. I mean, they've tried everything. Um, Even things that you probably never even thought that you knew of, they have tried. So it's um it's different to everybody, and especially if you don't know. If you don't know, if you've never had a weight problem, don't say anything. Um, that's just my 2 cents on that because you don't know what these people are going through. You don't know what we go through when you're a certain weight. And regardless if it was your fault or not, um, if you've, I mean, there are other ways people gain weight. It's not always about just overeating. I'm an example of that. But there are people who do have food addiction. Food addiction is a real thing. And, you know, um, BED is a real thing. I mean, there are even people who have BED disorder, and I'm not going to say it because people have got, you know, struck for saying the actual word, but just look up BED if you don't know what it is. Um, it's an eating disorder. I'll just say that. But there are people who aren't even overweight that have these same issues that a lot of people who are extremely overweight, obese, morbidly obese, whatever, have. But some people are just different. And like I know someone who was in the program that I was in. Oh no, I'm sorry, who's in the program that I'm in now, that they have BED and never had a weight problem. That's why I say that because it is a known fact. Um, and they've had other issues, but never had a weight problem, never been overweight, nothing. Um, so it's more than just what you see on the outside. There's a lot going on the inside, and that's why you need to really seek counseling, go see a psychologist, go see a counselor, go see a psychiatrist, whatever. Um, for me, even before I started my weight loss journey, I had got with a psychologist, and and it was the best. That was the best decision at the time that I made. Um, one of the best decisions, in my weight, not my health journey, in my health journey, because it explains so much. I was diagnosed with ADHD, not just ADD, but ADHD, which I could totally see it, especially now that I got more energy. Yeah. Um, but I was diagnosed with that. I was diagnosed with clinical depression and anxiety. So it explained a lot. It did, so that was something that very was very helpful, and especially on Girl, you know what, Keisha and I really try to talk about mental health and things like that because it's very important. It's very important within our community, the Black community. It's very important within Gen X. A lot of people in Gen X don't like talking about it, and generations prior don't like talking about it. So that's very important, and in women. And this isn't to take anything away from men, but it's almost like it's just hard for people to talk about and to admit to, um, and admitting is the first step to a lot of things. So, but the journey wasn't easy. There were quite a few setbacks. One of the biggest setbacks was my acid reflux, and I'm still dealing with it today. Maybe not as much because I did have to have surgery in 2021. I had to have throat surgery to because my acid reflux got so bad after my surgery, my first surgery, my bariatric surgery. It got so bad that I was being tested for cancer, and they were seeing things on my throat that if I didn't get the surgery, that I could have possibly, well, the throat surgery, I should say, I got to differentiate, I got to specify. If I didn't get the surgery, then I could have possibly developed throat cancer. That's how bad my acid reflux was. Um, so, and I say that I'm still suffering from it today. I mean, I have issues every now and then, not bad. It's usually like if I don't take, like, I don't have to take the medicine every day. I take it maybe once or twice a week, and that's just to take, to make sure I don't have any issues. But I also, it messed up my teeth. It did. It messed up my teeth. So that's something that I'm still working on trying to get fixed. I've been battling with insurance companies, because it was because of a health condition and surgery that caused my teeth to mess up, um, from all the acid and everything. So, yeah, but eventually I am going to get my teeth fixed. And when I do, it's over for y'all. I'm just saying. But no, seriously, um, I do want to, I do want to say this. When I do start going through my transformation and getting my teeth done, I won't be on camera because I know it's going to be a lot going on. Because I got to get cosmetic work done. That's how bad it is. So I'm well aware. Before anybody says anything about my teeth, I'm well aware. But yeah, it jacked up my teeth. So that's something that I'm still dealing with. But everything that I've been through, I wouldn't change it for the world because it has led me to where I'm at now. So that's just a little background. But when we went back to work full time, so after COVID, so during COVID, yeah, I did put on some weight, but I also had surgery within that time, but I still put on some weight. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough. So when we went back into work after C19, when we went back into work, I believe it was early 2024, we were still on our hybrid schedule, I guess you could say, where because we were doing this before, we were teleworking before, but we would go into the office 2 days a week and telework 3 days a week. And we started doing that again when we went back into the office. And then January 2025, we had to go in 5 days a week. So when we got back into that schedule, and then when I got comfortable, um, with the schedule, working 5 days a week, because I hadn't done that in years. Um, it had been well over 10 years since I went into an office 5 days a week. Well, I shouldn't say that because I did have to do it a couple times at this job, but consistently, I should say. Um, when I so I said once I develop my routine, once I get comfortable with my routine, I'm going to buckle down and I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to get to my overall goal or as close to it as I can. That was my thing. It was like I had the goal, the 165 in mind, but I said that I was going to, if I didn't hit it exactly, like say I got to 175 and my weight just plateaued. I mean, it is what it is. Still much lower than I was, still over 200-pound weight loss. I'd have been definitely content with that. But I'm happy where I'm at now. So when I when we went back into work 5 days, I said that I'm going to get on a routine. I'm going to meal prep. I'm going to see what I can tolerate to eat at work, what I can't. Um, and the truth of the matter was I wasn't really hungry a lot. Um, I would have a protein shake in the morning to get my protein in, and then I would have my coffee. I would usually, because I got to have my coffee. Y'all know, I got to have my coffee. So that would be like my morning. Every now and then I would bring some fruit, some yogurt, oatmeal, just something with some substance, I guess you could say, um, to eat along with it or to eat, before lunch. But a lot of times on lunch, I wasn't really that hungry because I was drinking. I was drinking water. I was drinking another cup of coffee. I would sometimes get a Red Bull. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, it is what it is. I know I'm going to hear it, but so I wasn't really hungry around lunchtime. I wouldn't usually get hungry until I got home. So and then it'd be time to wind down and cook dinner. So I was eating pretty good. So I said, well, maybe I'll start meal prepping again because I did meal prep before, especially when I first started my weight loss journey. And then when I got my full appetite back after surgery, I was meal prepping. So I started doing that, but I was wasting a lot because I wasn't hungry. Um, so it was kind of weird. And I felt weird because I wasn't eating a lot, but I just wasn't hungry. So I wasn't going to force myself to eat. So what I would do is I would just try to get my other protein in, um, like get another protein shake or a protein bar or something, just so I could have that. And then when I ate dinner, I would eat my balanced meal. So that wasn't the smartest thing because I still wasn't getting the right the right amount of servings throughout the day that I should have. And I still struggle with that because I just really don't have an appetite. Um, but when I eat, I eat, I can't eat a lot, but when I eat, I eat. I don't deprive myself. If I want pizza, I'm going to get a pizza. If I want roosters, I'm going to get some wings. Um, Usually I'll get a salad, but I get some of the chicken on it. But if I just want wings, I'm going to get them. But I don't eat like that every day. I don't eat like that throughout the week. Um, so, like if I'm on the go and I may not, be like, oh, when I leave, I'm like, oh, I'm not hungry, whatever. But then I get hungry when I'm out running errands or whatever. Um, or if I'm with my mom, over her house and, um, no, we haven't cooked anything, then, we get something to, out to eat, but it's not every day. And, I'm still struggling with trying to get the balanced diet. I'm not going to lie. And that's something that I work with my dietitian with because I do have a dietitian. That's the program that I'm in. I do have a dietitian. Um, so that was one of the main thing was that I wasn't eating a lot, but I wasn't hungry. So I would never force myself to eat. Um, because I felt like when I would force myself to eat and I wasn't hungry, then I would feel sick. So I don't know if that was the acid reflux or what. I don't know. I don't know, but it's just how I felt, and I didn't want to feel like that, especially when I'm at work. I don't want to feel like that. Um, Now every now and then, like my job, there's a Chick-fil-A, there's Burger King, there's Taco Bell. They're right outside of where I work, so I'll walk over there sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, and get a chili from Wendy's, or a double stack, a junior bacon cheeseburger, some mac and cheese from Chick-fil-A. I mean, I'll get that stuff, every now and then, but it's been weeks, since I've even thought about having something like that. But I'm not going to front and act like I don't eat fast food. I do. I don't eat it a lot. I never really been big on it anyway, even from when I was younger, when I was on my own, when I was a kid. I mean, of course, I liked my treats and getting my McDonald's and stuff like that, but I just never really been big on fast food like that. Um, I usually just eat it because it's convenient, and a lot of times I'm not really worried about the convenience. I'm just not going to eat. Um, but I definitely drink a lot of water. I do drink a lot of coffee. I do. Um, but I do drink a lot of water. So that does help. It balances it out. Even if I have an energy drink, it balances it out. It's all right. Um, so I can't really give too many suggestions on like how I eat. I can show y'all or tell y'all what I eat. And I'll get into that, in another episode if y'all want to hear about that. Um, but yeah, so I mean, to get to where I'm at now, it's just been cutting back tremendously on what I eat. A vitamin regimen, very important, especially at this age. I'm 46. So at my age, and let me tell you something, my niece today, my middle niece, Naya, I've talked about her before, mainly like on social media and stuff, but she's a trip. She's 10. She just turned 10 in March. She's 10 years old. And she told me today, we were sitting outside, and she told me today, she said, "You know what? You don't look your age." Because usually she's calling me old. But then she turned around and said, "You don't look like you have as much gray hair as you do normally do." That's because I just got a haircut. But then she looked and she's like, "Oh, yeah." So after she said something, gave me a compliment, we're back. But that's all right. I'll take the compliment. But anyway, um, so yeah, I mean, it's different for everybody. I can only tell you what I did and what worked for me, and you can take from it, build onto it, take away from it, whatever. And of course, I'm going to get more into it, but that was really all I've done. And since we've been back to work, I believe about a year and a half ago, since we've been back 5 days a week, I've lost close to 100 pounds. Like I think it was like 80 some pounds. So it's very noticeable. And people who see me every day, of course, they're going to say something. Um, I expect people who haven't seen me in a while to say something, but people who see me every day and who have seen me before, not only prior to when I was at my heaviest, but just in the time that we've been back, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. Um, but yeah, I think that's all I'm going to hit on with this one. And but that's really how I lost the weight. It's just it was just getting myself together mentally. That was the main thing, getting myself together mentally. The other thing was just cutting back on what I eat. I can't tell you, that you should follow the diet that I follow, but I would suggest if you're not hungry, don't eat. And that's just my suggestion from me. And I know people are probably going to, be like, no, you have to eat. You have to eat a well balanced meal. And like I said, when I'm not hungry and I eat, it makes me feel sick. Like I feel like I'm stuffing myself, and that could be a mental thing. I don't know. So scrap that. Don't pay attention to me saying if you're not hungry, don't eat. Because maybe you're on your own routine, so scratch that. Um, but that's why you put the disclaimer out there that this is just for me. I'm not a doctor. I'm just someone who um, I don't do anything in the medical field. I'm just someone who has been through the journey and can tell you what worked for me and what works for me still. Um, so yeah, so getting myself together mentally, finding what works for me food wise, um, how everything is set up. I am working on, still to this day, I'm still working on getting more balanced diet. Um, so that's something that really is probably the biggest thing that I need to work on. Um, and activity is important. You don't have to work out. I know, like the last couple summers, I was really working out. I mean, not summers, but years. I was really working out. I was going to the gym all the time. Honestly, I haven't been going that much. I've been walking. I'll go for a run. Um, I lift weights at home. I just do the resistance band, like while I'm just sitting down. I was like right behind me. No, I'm sorry. I push the chair back, and I'll start doing my resistance bands, or I'll do my little weights. I have my weights upstairs. I have an exercise bike upstairs. So there are things that I do, but I'm not as strict and strenuous and crazy about it like I was before. I do like working out, but I just, like I'd rather go for a nice walk or a jog or a run. That's just me. That's just where I'm at now. Um, so yeah. So I mean, that's the three main things that are important, I feel, in just changing your lifestyle. Period. Um, so I just feel like when you eat better, you feel better mentally and physically. Um, when you exercise, you're moving. You don't even have to necessarily exercise. Just like when I cut back on foods, I don't call it a diet. I cut back because diet is so mental. The same way I think exercise is for a lot of people. Now that doesn't really bother me because I do actually like to exercise, but I think it's mental. Like when you use certain words, it's mental for a lot of people and it wears you out before you even think about it. So I totally get that. Um, so lastly, I will say that I do hopefully, and I hate to say hopefully because I know I can do it. I know I can maintain it. I know I can keep the weight off. But I've just had so many setbacks in the past as to where I've lost weight and gained a whole bunch. Um, Even after my surgery, I gained weight. Now, that was my fault. I'll admit that that was my fault because I'm fixed. Everything's okay. Food's digesting properly. Um, it was just, that was me. Um, just sitting around snacking. I really don't snack a lot. My weakness is potato chips, but I try not to keep them in the house too much because I'll go off. But there are certain things that you do have to deprive yourself of that you like, but you don't want to deprive yourself too much. That's what I'm trying to say because it's so mental. That's why you have to get that fixed first. Um, I wouldn't have been ready to check out what was wrong with me. I don't think so. I can't, I mean, I could just speculate if I didn't get my mentals together first. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I did. It's not really a lot. And it just shows you that you can do a lot, but it not feel like a lot and still get to your goal. but I'm just very happy and content with where I am in my life. And health wise, career wise, I'm good. My mom's getting better, so that makes me feel better. My kitties are doing good, my babies. Um, and that helps too. It helps, it's encouraging. Um, I like being able to have energy to go do things with them. Like if we go to the zoo, if we go to the museum, the historical center, somewhere like that, then I don't have to keep sitting down. I mean, I'll sit down because they'll wear you out. But I don't have to sit down every, you know, 10, 15 minutes because auntie's exhausted. Um, Now I sit down because I'm old, but not because I can't breathe. And that's an amazing thing. That's an amazing feeling is that I can just go and go and go. And yeah, I mean, I can go out and take a run, I could take a jog. Things that I tried to do before, but I would either hurt myself because I was too big, out of shape. Um, and now that I'm in shape, getting myself in shape, I should say, then it's going to work out. And let me leave you on this note: it's never too late. Um, I'm about the age a lot of people start their weight loss journey. About the average age, mid 30s. Some people started earlier, some people started later. It's never too late. My weight journey has been ongoing for years. Um, and to finally get to my goal weight, I still have a lot to work on, mentally, physically, health wise. Still have a lot to work on. There's no way that I'm ever going to be done. But it's so inspirational when you see people older than me, much older, running marathons, working out, looking amazing because they take care of themselves. Now, you can look good on the inside, and there could be things going on the inside. That's a whole nother story. So it's not just about how you look on the outside, but it's taking care of you all around, inside out. So that's really it. My first suggestion would be to work on that. Work on that first. Once you get that together, that stabilized as much as you can, it clears it it clears you. It does. It makes everything much more clear, and you have more respect for yourself to be able to get to what you want to do and to take care of yourself. That was a huge thing for me, was I wanted to be able to take care of myself first and foremost. Because if I can't take care of myself, then there's no way that I can be there for anybody else. If I don't get my shit together, there's no way that I can help with anybody else. If I wasn't getting myself together, there's no way mentally I'd be able to, I would have been able to help take care of my mom, especially last year. And even this year, we're still, there's still some things we have to do. But there's no way that I would have been able to get through that sanely. So, yeah, but that's basically how I lost over 200 pounds. It's not really a lot, but it is. Everyone's journey is different. And as I said, I'm going to say it over and over again when I do episodes like this. I can only tell you what I know and what I've been through. And it's up to you to decipher, to take things from it or be like, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. It is what it is. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching this, if you're just listening to it, thank you. I appreciate you so much. I am working on some things still um, for the podcast, um, like some new cover art. Um, I'm working on some theme songs. I have a couple that I'm testing around. That mainly those will be. Now we'll probably start adding some music, like to the intro or outro of these videos. But when you actually listen, like if you go and listen to the podcast solely, you'll be able to hear some of the music coming in. Um, but I do want to end up adding it to the videos. And I'm also testing because I'm not used to being on camera. So I'm testing different things. I'm testing camera. I'm testing lighting. I'm testing what. There's a lot of things that I'm testing um, behind the scenes. So my room is a mess. I don't care. I mean, it is what it is. It's not going to look that much better because I don't have a lot of space in here. So this is going to be the background for now. Every now and then I might put us somewhere else, but this is the background for now. So, we just keep it real over here. That's what it is. That's what the Danny B Speaks brand has always been about. Um, Hopefully soon we'll be able to start going live. I'll be able to start having guests on. We can do it live. We can do it recorded, whatever. But I'm still going to be bringing you, content. Girl, you know what podcast? We'll be back. We're just on a short hiatus right now until Keisha gets better. So, yeah, that's really about it. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in. You could check me out on the different podcasting platforms, but of course, thank you to YouTube. I mean, thank you for checking out my YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. I at least want to get to 1,000 and get the hours in so I can do more on the channel. It's not just about being monetized for me. This is about, just being able to do more and to be able to get out there more. And, I'm still getting used to being on camera, so I expect to hear some things here and there, but it is what it is. So let me get off here because I can ramble forever. But I want to thank you all again for tuning in for the 30th time. Thank you. And I will check you all out on the next one. Peace out, y'all.